Good morning, everyone, and welcome back. So today we're going to be housing this instrument that we did yesterday. So in this, I have a couple different ideas that we're going to end up trying to do here. And that is putting it in this.
Okay.
So this is actually made by Psychotic Art Studios, and you may remember him. I did some collaboration work with him a while ago. It's absolutely a very sinister looking shell here, but that's not all. We also have this. So this is a creepy little doll that I actually got from my mom. She came across it in a auction site and ended up winning it. It's just a very, very tiny doll. I expected it to be bigger, but this doll is super creepy looking as is. Just it looks very old and stuff, and it's perfect for circuit bending. The head comes right off. I mean, it's sort of soft shelled. I don't know. It's a little. It's workable for sure. So we're going to try to do some stuff with this as well. And hopefully we can mount some LEDs on the top. And I'm thinking that this is going to be a good size for this. So I think what we should do is we should go ahead and start housing everything out right off the get-go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and cut into the top right here using a razor blade. And you'll kind of see why here. I think I'm going to go sideways. All right. So this is actually going in here. I'm going to angle this up a bit because you can't see this very well. There you go. Hopefully that is a little bit better. But this is going to be going inside of the top here, I do believe, because I think that would be pretty cool. And then we'll feed some wires up through it. And then obviously put some acrylic around here and stuff. So yeah, so right here I'm going to go ahead and cut out the back of this as well, and we're going to take some stuffing out. So from here, I'm going to go ahead and shape out, because I think we're good right here. So I'm going to go ahead and shape out this stall to actually hold circuitry. This is going to be kind of a weird one, because if you look at it, this doll has a really, really soft head, and then the body's not as soft as the doll. So I don't know if that's going to be a blessing or a curse right here. So we're just going to drill in and see what we can do exactly. We might be able to do that. I think be a little bit safer. Okay, so we're gonna cut the bottom of this and actually feed all the wires through the bottom of the doll as opposed to through the knees. I was thinking about the knees, but I just think that, well, let's try that. I'll cut it open a bit and we'll see if we can fit stuff in there. We use some wire cutters too. I'm usually not super comfortable with sewing around wires. It's not for like electricity or anything. It's just because I'm afraid that I'm actually going to rupture the wires or sew it in tight enough so where the wires are going to give way over time. But I think for here we might be good because it is in plastic and it's more of like a softer plastic. So I think if we sew it in there, the plastic is going to actually give a little bit more flexibility there. All right, so those are good. And let's go ahead and try to feed it through baby doll here. It's maybe a challenge. Okay, hopefully you guys can see a bit better. This is a little bit higher than I typically work. So on these really soft-shelled instruments, I really don't like drilling into them outside of a pilot hole. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drill a pilot hole into this, and then we're probably going to end up using a pair of wire cutters to shape this out. Typically I use a razor blade. And this is why. So if you look at how this responds to me actually drilling into it, it just does that. They twist up quite a bit. Yeah, so we're just going to go directly to cutting into this. So we're going to cut the eyes out first because that's a good reference point. If you can cut the eye out, then you can figure out where the rest of it really needs to go. So we're just going to do the same on this side. We're just going to cut the eye, flip the other way, and cut the eye. Now, out of curiosity, I'm going to see if this LED already fits in here. We can try it the other way. Okay, so one LED already fits. We might be able to fit. I think the plastic's soft enough that both of them could actually already fit in here. This is going to require a lot of hot glue. So that looks a little bit goofy. Kind of looks like that thing from Goonies. So I'm going to feed it back out, and then we are going to shape this up a bit more. Believe, yeah, the right eye is pretty cool for the big bulb. Okay, so that's what we have. And hopefully both of them will fit quite well in here now. Okay, that looks fine to me. So let's go ahead and kick it on and we'll see how this looks.
Youch! Catch me softly!
So that looks pretty good to me. We do need to do a lot of hot gluing inside of this. which hopefully it doesn't deform the head. I really want to back this off of here. So one thing we do want to be aware of is bulbs do heat up, whereas LEDs don't. So this might cause some melting if this is sitting on the bulb. So we want to back it off of there quite a bit. So from there, I'm going to go ahead and keep the LEDs active. I'm going to hot glue inside of here. So you can see how this LED kind of looks like, I keep saying LED, this bulb kind of looks like it's facing to the right there. It is sort of facing to the right, but it's also this electrical tape. So it'll look a lot better once we get the electrical tape off there. But I think we're good right there. So I'm going to go ahead and let that dry and just kind of set it over there. We are going to flip this off for the moment. So for this, I figured that we would use something pretty fitting. Pun not really intended, but now it's kind of intended. So gummy bears thing. Now, what you want to be aware of when you use 10 instruments and stuff for any type of breakout box is it's very likely that the electricity will actually flow through the switches and stuff. So a lot of these are actually grounded, and what they'll do is they'll ground the entirety of whatever you put them in. So very often if you use 10 or anything like that, if you feed it through the back, you'll notice that once you get everything set up, it's not going to respond the way you thought it would respond. There's a couple different ways you can go about doing that. The way we are going to do today is we are going to put something that kind of breaks that. So this is just a little plastic drink thing.
My IQ is 120. So I punched him in the face.
And then we're just going to put it on the inside here. So cut it out. And I'm just getting a good amount of it. Just so we can kind of put it in there. Throw it to the side there. Literally throw it to the side. And I'm going to show you a couple different ways you could actually do this as well. So I'm not super concerned if this gets too small, and you'll see why. I want it to fit well, but I'm not really worried if it ends up just way too small for us. I shouldn't say way too small. The majority of this is going to need to cover it. And even if you mess this up, I'll show you another way. Okay, so that's fine. You can kind of see right there. That is perfectly fine for us. And what we're going to do now is we're going to take electrical tape and we're just going to go around this. Now, theoretically, you could just take electrical tape and lay it right across here. I think this way is a bit quicker, but you really could just take electrical tape, just lay it all the way across there, and you would be perfectly fine. Just make sure your switches and stuff aren't actually hitting the tin can, and you're good. So there we go, put that down. This does not have to look good in any way because nobody will see this. Well, I mean, you guys will see it, but if you're doing it or making a breakout box like this, don't worry so much about the aesthetics of it. So there we go. I'm going to go ahead and do that one more time. Just kind of go back through here. Tape it up a little more. Then the cool part about this is when we start adding switches, the switches themselves are going to hold this plastic in as well. So So it may look like it's kind of coming up off of it right now, but once we start adding switches, it'll kind of correct itself. One thing that's also really cool about this is deep enough that we could actually probably add a pro sound directly through. Pull this off here. Should be able to add the pro sound directly on the top. This is kind of large for this bear. So there's a couple different ways we could actually do this. I kind of want the chest area to still show. And I think what we're going to end up doing, if we can pull it off, it's going to be hard, but I think we could pull it off, is we're going to try to feed it through the hand so it looks like it's actually holding this. I think that would be super, super cool. Much of it. As you can see, I don't know if we're going to have to add extensions to anything, but we're going to try to avoid that. All right, so we have 3 switches, 1 button, and 1 pro sound. So let's go ahead and get to adding those. So now we have all three of these mounted on the inside here. And we should be good to go as far as switches go. We just have to mount these two. Which these two aren't going to be hard in any way. We're running a little bit short on space on that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to mount it over here. And then this, we have a little more space to play with. So I think it would be best to mount that on that side. Our box should be working well. Well, that's not good, is it?
Youch! Catch me softly!
So, I think our light may have burned out.
Tap, shake, or toss to play!
It's kind of looking a bit weird, too. Alright, so we're just going to test everything else out outside of that light. The last thing to test is the Pro Sound.
Tap, shake, or toss to play! You'll have such a blast, won't believe the time has passed. You'll want to play all day, so in the sun we'll stay. When we so in, put up. Ball, foot, ball, how do we play? Football, foot,
Alright, so
ball. Here's what I say.
this most
Time to
definitely
start a
burned
play.
out.
So hike is what you'll say. You can run or pass the ball. Just make sure it does not fall. To beat the competition.
So that's not good.
Is the mission. Tap, shake, or toss to play.
So for that, I think we're just going to go ahead and kind of proceed on for the time being. Let's go ahead and feed some of the stuffing back in here. And we're going to have to wrap back around, and we're going to have to, since our wiring's perfectly fine in this, at least that's my guess, if you look really closely, you can kind of see how the bulb darkened quite a bit. So the reason for that is because it did burn out, which fair enough, because I mean we're using a bulb for something we're circuit bending that's not supposed to be put in there, so it's okay. Not super concerned about it. It's just kind of weird that it would burn out like that, whereas when we put, remember, like a 1K resistor on there, it wouldn't even work. So that's kind of strange, but we're going to go ahead and we're going to proceed on with putting this box together. better.
Game over.
Maybe take some sandpaper or something a little bit later and really touch that up. It's looking better. Let's try this. Totally not working. All right, maybe working a little bit. Thank you. All right, so that's pretty cool. All right, so testing out which side here is going to be coming on. So there we go. I don't need all this slack here. So that should be good. We just got electrical tape in it and obviously solder it. Then you'll kind of see where the LED holder kind of comes in here. that is that for now. And then as you can kind of see, it does hold in there really, really well. And I'm not done sewing it. I am going to sew it quite a bit more. Put these back in here. But like I said, I'm going to be doing that off camera. It's not something I'm going to be doing on live stream because that would just be me sewing for hours and hours. I'm sure you'd really love to do that, but I also like watching TV while I sew. So, you know, not going to be doing that on live stream. But I'm going to go ahead and grab some other stuff from Psychotic Art Studios that we should be doing here pretty soon. And then we're going to run a bolt through here, if I can find one real quick. And then once that's done, we're out for the day. But give me 1 second. Let me go grab some other stuff. We have this. Just a super cool bear. You can kind of see how he did the mouth there. It's absolutely insane. Has claws over here. Claws over here. And it's so fluffy.
Okay.
So nice. His work is always insanely impressive to me. It's creepy in absolutely all the right ways. So there's that. And then there's this rabbit right here. So it's really, really cool how he did this. You can actually see some thread over here. He actually ran some pins through there. Mouth is pretty similar. Absolutely cool. So he does phenomenal work. Definitely check his work out. You can find a lot of videos that I've actually did with him, but for sure check his work out if you haven't already. So now I have this bolt right here, which should run through there. However, I'm not sure if I have a nut that fits it, which I'm hoping that I do. And I do. All right, so I'm not super worried about opening this up in any way. We're just going to actually drill through it and then hit both sides so we can pull this together. So that's our game plan on this one. Before this, I'm going to go ahead and turn this off. Kind of save it on battery. Looks like if we go all the way through with this, we should be good. Trying to figure out where exactly I want to do this at. Kind of wanted it to go with the writing as well. Yeah, we're going to do it right over the A right here. Okay, so we should be good. We just got to feed it through, and then we'll have a bolt that is holding it together. Giving it a little bit more security. The reason I fed it through this way is because I don't really want that bolt sticking out the front. So we're feeding it through the back. And don't worry too much about actually tightening this up to any extreme intent. Just going to be fine once we tighten it up just a tiny bit. Just push this back on. That looks good from the front. I'm almost wondering if we should add another one, but yeah, maybe right there. Well, actually, to me, it really looks good. I kind of like that look. Just not really too much going on here, and it's very, very secure now that we put that bolt through.
Youch! Catch me softly!
So I'm just going to stuff the rest of the stuffing back in here. Stuffing's rather amazing how it just condenses. There's so much of it out, and then you just shove it in there and it condenses it. Okay. So it should be good right there. That's almost the final product. Obviously, there's a little bit more stuff to do. And I just kind of want to show you what I'm talking about as far as zippers. So this is a zipper. And typically I cut these short. So what I mean by I cut them short is I sew down here. If you take the thread and you just switch it over back and forth many, many times, you can actually cut the rest of the zipper off. Now what I do is I just very simply sew the zipper back here. So it'd be like somewhere around like right here. That way somebody could just zip down. They can open it up. They can replace batteries, turn it on, whatever they need to do. And they don't have to reopen the instrument back up. So there we are. So you'll see this in the performance video here pretty soon. And I'm going to be adding some acrylic to it and doing a couple more things, but it's not going to look super different from this final product. Let's go ahead and play around with it a bit.
Tap, shake, or tap. Football. Why? You have
It's still kind of crashy a bit with that
tap, shake.
really chaotic thing. Overall, I think it's a really successful instrument. It's nice. We got a lot of really weird bends on it. The bends are chaotic and it really fits the feel of it. Okay, so with that, I just want to thank you guys for watching, especially if you tuned in both today and tomorrow. But regardless, thank you so much for watching. You guys are absolutely awesome. I want you guys to have a fantastic weekend. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend. So a great Sunday. And have fun today. Go do something nice for somebody. Do something awesome. Do something positive. But thank you guys so much for tuning in. And I will see you later. Thank you.